All right, welcome friends. My name is Hannah. I lead email and community at Growclass. You've probably seen me around before. Hello, it's nice to meet you. If you're not familiar with Growclass, we're a 6-week growth marketing course and community filled with founders, marketers, and freelancers. We teach folks the skills they need to grow their careers and their businesses. Today, I'm really excited to learn about authority, impact, and the future of influencer marketing with Marissa Pick. Marissa is the founder of Marissa Pick Consulting LLC. She provides strategic consulting focused on digital transformation, which includes executive thought leadership, content marketing, and social media strategy. Prior to founding her own business, Marissa was the global director of social media and digital marketing at the CFA Institute, where she oversaw efforts to reach journalists, legislators, policymakers, and investment professionals who play essential roles in shaping the direction of the financial service industry. Super impressive background. I'm going to drop all of Marissa's links in the chat for you so you can connect with her there. Just a reminder that if you have any questions, we do have time for a Q&A, so you can feel free to drop those questions in the chat. You can use the hand up emoji. You can unmute yourself. If you're feeling a little bit shy, you can send me a message, a personal DM, and then I will ask the question on your behalf. And there's no such thing as a dumb question, so we're all here to learn. This is a judgment-free zone. As long as we keep it kind and respectful to one another, we'll be okay. But with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to Marissa so we can learn more about the future of influencer marketing. Over to you, Marissa.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah, and nice to meet everyone. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and kick in. I'm excited for today. Really looking forward to it. As Hannah said, please throw questions in and we'll go from there. So yeah, here we go. So I want to give you guys a little bit about myself. Hannah's background and introduction was awesome. This is my family this summer. I have 2 little boys. I live in New Jersey, right outside of New York City. We're big, adventurous family. We went ziplining through Hawaii this summer, which was awesome. And I have done quite a bit of content marketing in my past. So I started within social media and digital marketing, gravitated towards it, and have yet to leave. So my background is heavily saturated within financial services. I've been consulting now and have my business for 5 years. So in those 5 years, I've been able to branch out and do a lot of fun content marketing. You can check out everything on my website, my LinkedIn. I share a lot. I have been named a person to follow within B2B marketing, content marketing, social media, events. So I just wanted to share some of my background there. And I have done quite a bit with influencer marketing within several roles. So I'll go through some case studies today. I'm going to give some background, some stats, some usable websites that you can actually go and source influencers immediately after today, and some ideas that I hope spark you guys with getting started with leveraging influencers within your businesses. And please, do use the chat to get that going. I'm going to ask all of you with this cute little Peppa Pig, what is the difference between a celebrity and an influencer? So if you don't mind just going into the chat and putting in what you guys think the difference between a celebrity and an influencer. So we got one person, intention. I like that. Don't be shy, guys. Let's go. Let's see what we all think. Okay, audience. I love this. Influencers are paid to create content. Lines are blurred. But Tanya, you are the winner of the question. The answer is relevance, relatability, and relevance. So having a following and being relevant to who you want to reach in the audience that you want to reach. So we're going to go through a little bit of the breakdown here. But to kick us off, what exactly is influencer marketing? By definition, influencer marketing is simply a type of marketing involving businesses collaborating with individuals who have a large following on social media channels. What they can do there is promote their products, they can promote their services, and a lot of times it's people that have a larger following that are relevant and can have engagement driving. So they're like you and me. They might have blogs, they might consistently post online. Maybe they do vlogs of their every single day life. Maybe they're doing makeup tutorials. So it kind of changes within the industry and sector that you're looking for an influencer. but really not different than you and I. So again, those identification and building with the target audience and having that trust and relatability. So really quickly, why are behaviors changing so fast? It's really exciting. We are living in the middle of a revolutionary shift. I think back to my first role in digital marketing, and I was doing publishing and B2B, and we were doing all these prints and all these different types of things. And then digital media evolved, and I was like a fire to a light, and I just took to it and have yet to walk away. So we're in the middle of a revolutionary shift. You can see there on the left. First, there was the Industrial Revolution. Then we went into the mass media revolution, the television, the radio revolution. Now I'd say we're in the digital revolution. So if you think about it, advertising over the past 50 or so years has stayed the same. And then the internet came and social media came. It was born, completely disrupted everything. It became the question of online privacy. What's there? What's happening? And if you think about it, when's the last time you were in your car driving by a billboard and you saw a billboard ad and you felt inclined to buy something from a billboard ad? So think about it now. Everything is pretty much digital. We are in a digital world, and we have the emergence of influencers and the emergence of social media channels, which are constantly popping up, changing, and being leveraged by many of us as consumers. Many businesses and many different influencers have emerged. So why should we care about this? There's so many different networks. There's like this week alone, I got a LinkedIn top social media badge. So I guess if you think of that, I am someone sharing relevant content on LinkedIn about social media. So I guess you could say, quote unquote, I'm an influencer. Then you have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the other social networks that have now created these amazing followers and influencers and micro and macro, which we'll get into, that have amassed followers on these very niche subject matters. And so you get into here, everyone for the most part knows Cristiano Ronaldo. He is the highest paid social media influencer. This is crazy. He earned $3.2 million per sponsored post. He has 628 million followers on Instagram, and which is so insane because when I pulled this stat from the beginning of February, he grew almost, I want to say 100,000 new followers. So, this is one good example. Then there's PewDiePie on YouTube, which made, I think there's a stat, he was making $3,200 a day. It's totally insane. There's all these cool calculators. If we have time, I can share this link so you can actually go in and see an estimation of what people are earned. But the idea is that these channels have emerged and there are people that can then speak. So by definition, this is from an Influencer Marketing Hub report, which is a really fantastic resource. If anybody's looking to learn more and get some great stats and insights on the role of influencer marketing. Without a doubt, the most popular channel right now is TikTok, followed by Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Twitter has dropped way down, and other channels. And then the idea of what content drives relevance and engagement, tutorials seem to be the most popular and desirable way of reaching your audience. So I want to go into some facts and stats before we get into the bulk of the presentation. So 92% of brands are planning on increasing their budgets this year. And so what this means is that by the end of this year, it's going to be a $24 billion industry, which is totally insane. Without a doubt, growing faster than I can even get the words out of my mouth. And then talking about trust and influencers, 63% of millennials and Gen Z say that they trust it. 79% people are looking at user-generated content. So back to the idea of if you're driving down a street and you see a billboard or you see a newspaper ad, is that what's moving the needle for all of us? No, likely if you're looking at content or you're looking for something, you go to your peers, you go on social media, you read reviews. I know we do this when we do vacations. We go online and we read all the TripAdvisor reviews and we go through, and I take people's content very close to heart. So it's clear that influencers are the authority, and brand interest in sponsored content, aside from social ads, is on the growth. People are trusting influencers, and it's creating more opportunities for partnerships, which is fantastic. So then into that survey that I mentioned by Influencer Marketing Hub, 82% of people are saying that they're getting higher quality leads. So what's helpful is that these influencers are actually, as you can see from the step before, they are trusted, they are driving authority, and in return, we're getting more people coming in. And you can see again, it's creating opportunities for partnerships, for more opportunities for brand, and so on and so forth. And so thinking about AI, I wanted to put something in. Artificial intelligence is completely changing the world as we know it, the content world, the influencer world, and brands are a little bit optimistic about the introduction of AI within their efforts. So there's a great survey by Social Publi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So 76% of agencies were already leveraging AI to analyze and leverage these influencer partnerships. I'm not sure how many of you guys have leveraged AI within your work and your roles. I use it a lot with content marketing and research. And sometimes I do competitive research or influencer mapping, leveraging some of these tools. So brands that are working with these creators online as an opportunity is they're really, the ones that are getting the good mix of a real user-generated content alongside a traditional influencer content, which is more of a winning mix, in my opinion, but something to absolutely take a look at. And so, influencer marketing is leveraging that authenticity. The advertisements are not translating as they used to a couple of years ago. As we discussed already, shoppers are trusting recommendations from third parties or friends more than they ever had before. And 63% of consumers are likely to buy products from an influencer that they trust. So, what does this mean for all of us? That influencer marketing, although very, very blurry with what the definition of an influencer, micro, macro, which we'll get into, it works. Influencer marketing works. And I've used it with several different businesses that I've, consulted for, been in-house for. And without a doubt, it's something that's here to stay and going nowhere. So I keep talking about micro, macro, and I'm not sure where all of you sit within roles, but what I want to talk about and focus on a little bit is this idea of nano versus macro. And so you can see there by definition, nano is a smaller targeted audience that is helping you reach and get more engagement. It's, 0 to 10,000 followers with a larger influence versus a macro, like a Cristiano Ronaldo is a macro influencer. And maybe all of you have $3.2 million to invest in influencer marketing. I do not. That would be a dream. But kind of the nano influencers are more of what many of us are going after versus these macro influencers. You can see there 10% feed per reach versus 33%. So I have found that leveraging these nano influencers is far more effective and something that all of us can get started on versus if you think about reach and higher engagement rates and goals, the idea is that many of us who work in many different industries, especially I come from financial services, having the ability to tap into these people who have a mass followings on niche subjects that they talk about and leverage their voice, their followers to take an action, that is really, really impactful. So as you think about this, think more in the realistic zone of how we can leverage great nano influencers within the roles that you guys are all in. So hate it or love it, it works. There's a stat that 90% of brands are going to increase their presence on Instagram this year, and YouTubers were getting a whopping 49.5% engagement rate. So if you think about the short form video that is authentic and everything that's going on, and going back to that report again, 60% of people are increasing their budgets this year, and more people are trying to figure this out and they invest more money. But as you can see there, the primary brands are spending less than $50,000 on marketing. And like we said, those macro influencers, 15% are spending money over $500,000. So, it's more important to find influencers, in my mind, with a smaller audience that are closer to your industry and able to tap in. A lot of people will actually work for free products. So as you think about what you can offer, a lot of creators will actually do things with brands for free products if they love it. Then the value's high, and it's important for us to all stay legal with what they do. So I want to dive a little bit more into the actual logistics of what this means for all of us and how we can leverage it. Without a doubt, as I've mentioned, it's a really fast-growing market, highly cost efficient, and helps all of us actually reach and target our customers. So I want to go through a couple rules of influencer marketing. Number one, popularity does not equal influence. If I am doing a conference on financial services within EMEA, for example, targeting Kim Kardashian, probably not the person that has influence over the audience that I am trying to leverage. So just because you have a lot of followers, that does not mean that you have influence over the followers that you are trying to reach and get them to do something. Rule number two, if you're influential, you have to actually have authority. You have to have great content. You have to be consistent. You have to be talking about the subject matter that you are trying to reach through a partnership. You have to be actively writing on topics or speaking or sharing or posting or doing video vlogs that matter to your audience. So then the idea again is that influencers drive action. It would be great if everybody just posted something, but really, if any of you have touched content, you know that posting all day long with no thought process about analytics, what's actually working, what your audience wants to consume, and having an action taken, whether it's clicking through and leaving a comment as we started out, where are you tuning in from today? What do you think about this? If you are not getting content and conversation, it is deemed irrelevant in my mind. You have to drive an action, especially when you are talking with influencers and bringing them into your circle. So a couple data points to consider when we talk about influencer marketing. So again, that relevance. How relevant is someone that you're bringing in as a partner? You can look through content that they produce. You can think about the keyword mentions. Again, you want to make sure that they are relevant to your audience, that they have a following, and that following is hitting who you want and asking them to take an action. And then again, resonance. So having sure that you're measuring the engagement type. So a lot of times when I do content marketing within my roles or my employee advocacy teams that I've done or influencer, a really simple way to do this is simply affix a UTM code and give an influencer a UTM code and see what they're driving into your website. So I've done this before with internal stakeholders in my teams, and I've given 3 pieces of content to, let's say, 50 different people internally. And we'll do a little competition, right? We'll say, here are the 3 pieces of content we're trying to promote this month. Everybody has their own UTM affix. We'll look on the back end of Google Analytics and we'll see when people come into the website, what channels they're coming in from, what content is driving it, how long they're staying on site. So it's kind of a dual win way to approach influencer marketing internally within your own internal thought leaders. And a lot of people, I think, overlook that idea. Or externally and thinking about how to leverage people and see what they're doing and measure it properly, whether it's you want content, you want people coming in and buying, you want affiliate links set up. So make sure that the content is resonating and then take into consideration reach. So this is looking at audience metrics. Do they have a lot of followers? Do they have a lot of fans? Do they have a lot of subscribers? What do those visitors look like? How long are they staying on page? Are they coming in from a partnership that you're developing and they're bouncing right off? That might not be a good fit. So constantly, like as with anything else, we have to look at analytics on social media, make sure our influencer marketing partnerships are working. And then again, audience size does matter, and it does matter only if it's driving action. I think people get really caught up with followers, but a lot of the best influencers I've ever worked with are consistent posters and just generate great content, and that content drives actions. So don't get caught up too much in overall audience size. Again, you have to go through these 4 different data points as you think about who you're reaching out to. So let's talk about some failed celebrity influencer marketing campaigns, which there are like numerous when I was looking through. So a couple different reasons that they might fail. Maybe it's content. Maybe it's somebody that's posting something that doesn't reflect the brand's values. Or maybe it's just really bad content. You can see here, Naomi Campbell was contracted by Adidas, and she posted something, as you can see. Naomi, so nice to see you in great spirits. Could you post something like this? What's the error here? Was she supposed to post that? Absolutely not. That's really bad content. So she copied, pasted, totally ruined it, and she generated quite a bit of bad media from this. So that backfires on the brand that contracted her. Then think about authenticity. So again, if people don't believe that you're an influencer within a certain spectrum or a niche that you're trying to reach, it's completely transparent. I'd say the number one rule of influencer marketing gets back to that authority. If you're not if you don't have authority and you are not relatable and you are not authentic, there is no reason for people to believe you or follow you. So then think about the audience. So the influencer's audience might not match the brand and they might not trust your influencer that you've partnered with. So you have to be really cautious and smart about when you're doing these audience influencer mapping to begin with, you know, what are you looking to get from them? Are you looking to drive sales? Are you looking to drive content? And be really smart about how you approach this. But wait, there's more fails because it's great. So then this is one of my favorite, Kim Kardashian, and this is there's a lot of new rules about how you have to disclose. So failing to disclose now, if you're doing an ad, you have to actually disclose that you're doing an ad here in the States at least. So Kim Kardashian, this got quite a bit of media. So she posted this drug, which was, I think it was a nausea drug when she was pregnant. She put it out. Her first ad did not have any disclosures. It was all fluff and fun. And then the FTC actually came down on her, and then she had to repost this, which was a correction post, completely talking about all of the risks, all of the ad disclosures. So you have to make sure that you're being really smart and doing it right if you're leveraging these macro influencers. And then you might think about other ways, an audience might be saturated, you might lose engagement, trust. But again, it's really, to me, when you see the word hashtag ad, a lot of times I actually don't even, to me, it's so blatantly clear when an influencer has no alignment with a brand. And it's totally not something that I think any of us should do. I think it's, again, focusing on that authenticity, and that drives action. One more just quick slide about different ways to make sure that you are adhering to the rules. One more big one, it's pretty blurry, but Scott Disick also did the same copy and paste where he put in at 4:00 p.m., please put in this line without taking that out. So to be smart, be sensitive, the world of digital marketing is great. It's rapid, it's constantly evolving. It's also there forever. Privacy in the age of digital is very blurry. So be sensitive, because although you might have somebody that you partner with that is, helping you, it also reflects very intensely on your brand. And so you have to be sensitive, you have to be creative, but you also have to adhere to the rules. You need to know your audience. You need to know what content that they want and understand where influencers are coming from, what they constantly post, what is their feed, what are they known for, and how can your brand work with them? So looking at the product's strengths, I think the best influencers on TikTok are the ones that are showing a product. And this is like the one social network I missed was Vine. If you guys remember, Vine was a 6-second looping video. God, we used to have a field day on site at events with Vine and showing products, and this is now dead. So that's sad. But it's a great way. If you have a product and you guys work for a company that you can show something, you can do great little, moving videos or images or scenes and be authentic, show your product. I think those are the best things that work. And again, the tutorials, without a doubt, were so far ahead of other ways of showing influencer marketing on that's more consumer focused, but a B2C. And then again, your audience is gold. If your audience does not like your content, they're going to explicitly tell you that they don't. It's going to be very transparent. And again, the trust really matters. So working with these influencers, these are just some guidelines, but keep those in mind. Okay, so I want to share one case study of what I've done in the past, and it makes me really excited to go back to this. So this was a couple of years ago. I was at CFA Institute, which is a global company. I ran the global social media team there, and it was a financial services certification. So we had, I think at the time, 170,000 global members. And my first year, I said, I want to do a social media lounge in the middle of a conference and a financial services conference. And my entire conference team looked at me like I was actually insane. They looked at me and said, no. I said, well, I think we're going to do this. Let's discuss the benefits. I brought my global team in and I set up, as you can see, this like social media lounge on the bottom left here. And so what I did was I brought in this analytics screen, which I love live analytics at any event that I do. I think it resonates, especially if you're a speaker. So this woman on the top was a CMO from some big financial company. And at the time, social media lines with financial services were highly blurred, as they still are, but a lot of brands were hesitant to even get involved and therefore missing out. And so I said, okay, let's take a picture of you. You just spoke. You're the number one trending topic. You're deemed an influencer within the sector that you're speaking in. And so she went, took her marketing person, took a picture and said, I'm going to go to my C-suite and make a case of why we should have social media and showcase this. And I said, that's great. So then what we brought in was a social media vending machine. So you can see here on the right, we had just launched a new brand campaign. And so the idea is any hashtag, when you use the hashtag, it would dispense a prize. The prize was, everything from little tchotchkes to gift cards to really fun swag that my team custom printed. And so that was a really big hit. The guy below is a big media person and he posted all about this. So we generated media. We drove influence by getting people bought into social media. And we also drove our own hashtag. We were the number one trending hashtag for 3 days globally. And so we put that hashtag everywhere and anywhere we could. We had, you can see the Hershey's Kisses on the bottom center had our hashtag. There were 10 cards everywhere. Every single speaker slide had it. And my team finally was getting into it. My team was also able to sit there and meet global members and understand what their content preferences were, how they wanted to be reached, how we could work with them, how we could spotlight them, how we could bring them into our brand social media feed. And so these two guys on the bottom right were speakers at the conference. And I said, why don't you guys come in? Let's do something on social media and the relevancy within financial services for our audience. So the night before the conference kicked off, we did this whole thing with them. I think it was probably one of the best attended sessions of the entire conference. We leveraged their social media networks to do social media Twitter chats before, during, and after the event. So they were leveraging our brand hashtag, tagging our brand, speaking to their audiences. And I think I want to say between the three of us on that stage, we had probably close to 1 million followers on Twitter, which at the time was the primary channel. So we were able to reach people, change the market. And this is like a nice way of looking at, in my mind, a nano influencer. They were on site creating content. They were tweeting with my team. And if you think about it, it's all kind of full circle with different complementary ways of identifying influencers who are speakers, having them come in. We were able to do content with them after. Then we had all the social media. We had the bubbles and everything. So this was probably one of my favorite case studies I have ever done. And one thing I'm dying to do, if anybody has the budgets to do this, is you can do the same thing with this automated dispensing of a prize from a hashtag. You can actually do it with a balloon. So this is like a sneak peek of my next big experiential marketing thing will be every tweet will get the balloon more and more inflated. And then whoever pops the balloon, the nano influencer that's posting from a conference, is the winner of a prize. So people come and gather, and I've seen this at conferences. Super cool idea, super cool technology, but think about how you can leverage online, offline within events. One of my favorite things I've done. Okay, so I've talked a lot about influencer marketing, what it means, what you should not do. So let's talk about how we can actually go in and find influencers today and some ways of actually tapping into influencers in your view. So a couple different things, there are many, many ways of finding influencers. Hashtags. Hashtags are now everywhere. They're on Twitter. They're on X. They're on Facebook. They're on LinkedIn. You can use them across every single platform. And for those of you who don't know, you can actually click into a hashtag, which then takes you to another feed of people using the hashtag. You can see who the top users are. So if you're doing research and you're trying to find influencers, this might be a really nice way of finding someone because the top tweets or the top posts will always come up first, or there's a feed where you can see them. Then keyword searches. The beauty of social media is it's essentially a big giant network of feed of content. So if you go into LinkedIn, for example, and you go to the top right-hand side of your LinkedIn, you'll see there's top news. You can follow different people on LinkedIn and it'll start serving you more relevant content. The more you put in, the more you share content, the more these search engines get to know you. So every single social network has a keyword search. Leverage those searches. Again, look at top content, top authors, see who's writing and how you can leverage them. Social media, it's infinite. There are so many different networks, but so many ways of reaching your audience with really great content and finding influencers with really great content on social media. Then there's a search alert. I'm sure many of you guys have searched yourselves and Googled yourselves. If you have not Googled yourself, you should Google yourself incognito, see what's posted. If you're trying to track a topic, you can set up a Google alert. It's completely free. It'll automate anytime your name comes up in the internet and it'll just send you a message. So I do this for all my clients. I do this for myself. I want to make sure that I'm catching any mentions of myself or something that I'm tracking that's relevant from the internet. And then without a doubt, conferences and industry events are one of the best places um, to find people to connect with. You know, it's the intersection of online and offline events. There's nothing more I'd love to do than speak with all of you after this online session on Zoom, but I can't because we're on Zoom. So now that the world is emerging and we're kind of getting back to what it used to be, go to conferences, connect with people, meet people, have conversations, go up to a speaker after, connect with them on LinkedIn. If there's somebody that you find to be influential and someone that you might want to collaborate with your brand as an influencer, send them a personalized note on LinkedIn. Say, it was really great meeting you, would love to take the conversation offline. I do a lot of networking. I'd say my number one thing is networking without an agenda. I do 2 to 3 virtual coffees a week with people. You never know who you're going to meet and who they're going to become as they grow within their career. So always make time for people and, you know, leveraging conference relationships and keeping that online is fantastic and a great way of finding influencers. So staying on the conference trend, one of my favorite things, this is like one of my favorite tools forever. It's this website called Keyhole, and all of the networks I'm going to show you. I think there's 4 different tools I'll introduce you to today. They're all free. They help upsells. You can get more information. What I love is this website looks 72 hours back, and it'll actually give you analytics on any hashtag and any user that's actually engaging with your brand or your voice. So you can see demographics, locations, top users, and then you can quickly connect with people. So when I'm on site at an event and I'm monitoring like one of these really big events, I'll go through and just start connecting with people. It's also really nice to get free analytics about who your users are with a hashtag, because that has changed a lot in the last couple of years. So it's a really nice way of seeing who's authoritative on a hashtag and connect with them and hopefully build a relationship and work with them as an influencer in some way or form. So then there's this really great tool called Exalt, and I don't know if I'm saying that right either. What I love about this is it'll actually help you discover influencers specifically on TikTok globally. And so you can see there's a kind of like you put in some notes about what you're looking for, keywords, and it'll go through, it'll give you influencer accounts, and it'll do an automation of their engagement and compare different people across the niche that you're trying to reach, which I love because TikTok is a lot going on. And this kind of helps you hone it in and take a look. It enables you to monitor and collaborate seamlessly. So you can see here, if you're looking for micro influencers within the US in different categories, you can quickly see their engagement rate, their reach, their followers, and very quickly, you know, if you don't want to pay for it and export it out, easily can type it into, you know, Twitter, LinkedIn, take the names after, connect with them. TikTok, obviously, it's made for TikTok, but same idea is that you can easily find people, connect with them, and hopefully collaborate with them. This is another great tool. So you can go in and it's called Lionize. So you can actually, it's a search engine marketing tool. So it's leveraging AI, which I think is super interesting. And again, if you guys are not using AI for doing competitive research or influencers, go ahead and play around with it after. You can actually type in, who are my competitors? who are some of the key influencers within the space, and it'll throw back ideas. But this is a good one for you. This essentially sits on top of a search engine, and it sifts through the sea of creators, and it helps you find candidates that you can then partner with. What I like about this one is it gives you this campaign manager with really beautiful analytics and exportable reporting that you can then leverage and show impact, which is great. But it's a great way, again, to just find and understand. And again, you don't have to actually use any of these tools to run the campaigns, but if you're looking for a full service tool, all of these will enable you with some paid upgrades. And then this is formerly TweetsMap, which I figured the name would have changed since I've last looked at this, since Twitter is now X. Now it's called Fiducia. So this is a great tool. It'll enable you to leverage Twitter or X. Sorry, I'm not there yet in my presentation. I'm still stuck in Twitter world. It's still my favorite network. So this will let you find, analyze, and optimize. So you'll go in, you can type here, you can see like already there's an upgrade, but you type in digital marketing, financial services. It'll then spit out different users. You can go by language as well, which I love. It'll show you a map of their engagements, what they've done, who they are, and what they're doing with their actions. So again, a really nice free way of reaching these people. And then if you also want to become an influencer, if you guys have a decent social network and you like getting free products, this is one of my favorite tools. It's called Influencer. So you actually can go in, you can sign up, you automate all your social networks in. I do this quite a bit. I'll go through and I will actually review products that they send me. And if I like it, I'll be honest. If I don't like it, I'll be honest. So then on the back end, so that's the influencer side of this product. If you are a consumer, you can see here, you come in looking for food and beverage products, or for this example, I did steak sauce. I was looking, sorry, this had to do with dinner that we were making this week. And so I went in, I said, you know what, maybe I should find a new steak sauce. I go in, you can read product reviews from real people, and in live time, it'll move around. So you can actually see what people like. And there was a couple that I hadn't heard of here. I'm a big A1 fan. I think we tried one of the other, I think my husband went and got something else at the market that week. So it's a really nice way of just finding real reviews and leveraging what people like. So take a look through that. That's a fun one, though. They send you free stuff, which is great. Okay, so now we've talked a lot about influencers, we've talked about stats, why it's relevant, what not to do. So now let me give you 5 ideas of what you can do today after the session to get them actually sharing your content. So number 1, this seems so simple to me, but it's so often overlooked that brands don't do this. Mention your influencer. If you develop content and you are looking to reach someone, or you have a session and you're tagging someone, mention them. They will then see it in their feed. They will see the little red dot on LinkedIn. They will see the @ sign on X. They will see the same thing on TikTok when they log in. Often that's enough time. That's enough to grab their attention. So knowing what people are interested in, knowing how to reach them through content and sharing their social profiles, it's very appealing to them. So as we all are marketers, I assume, or most of us are marketers. Go in and conduct research. Use the 4 tools or 5 tools that I've showed you. Understand what they're sharing. What are the topics that are resonating? What interests your influencer? What interests your audience? What do you want to share from your brand that will then resonate with your audience? Create great content. Let them know that you've shared this. Mention different influencers and leverage everybody else's social network to then raise visibility. A lot of times when I'm going in the LinkedIn, I start without a real idea of what I want to post. And sometimes when I'm doing research on a article that I'm going to write, I will actually ask people to crowdsource and give me feedback about what they think about a topic. I posted something yesterday. There was a ton of engagement on my LinkedIn. I promoted this session. A lot of people put in some really interesting feedback that they had about influencer marketing. Not everyone loves it. Not everyone trusts it. Not everyone's using it. But to me, it's really interesting because it got people talking. And that gets back to the authenticity and the relevance. You need those actions. You need people sharing, talking, and doing something. Otherwise, it's just a post that's gone nowhere and it's a waste. So let your audience know and leverage those people. A really nice way to do this on X is still creating lists. So there's people have egos. If you play into them and you mention them, you see it here. So like I mentioned, this was someone that had added me to one of their lists, Team Getting to Like, I think it was called. So if I log in to my X account, does not slip off the tongue. You see here, they've added me to the account and then they've liked a tweet. And so this comes into the feed. So then, okay, fine. So he added me to this account. There's 1,700 people that he has on this list that he thinks I'm relevant. And I went through and I followed a bunch. I picked up a bunch of followers. So my teams, when I used to run global teams or when I'm doing research on a topic and I'm trying to find influencers, I'll actually build a list publicly, and then all these people will get a notification that I or the brand that I'm working on behalf of have added them to a list. So really simply, you can see there how to add or remove people from a list. Click the little dots on their profile, add, remove. You can name your list, you can put in little keywords, and then it becomes a curated list and you can see content from those people, and you can also see the members and you can go through and follow people. So take the time to do this. It really helps with growing your brand as well. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So the other thing is, okay, I found someone. Let's say like Hannah is the number one person that is talking about rainbow hearts. Sorry, this just happens to be next to what I'm doing. Hannah is the person, she makes these. She knows how to do this. She is the number one person. You know, I've identified her. How do I get her to help with me and leverage her voice? Maybe I want to ask her to contribute to my blog, my website. Maybe she can add her voice to something that I do. It's a really nice way to get content. You don't have to write it. You can have them, the influencers, submit it. It helps you as a brand build your credibility. So if I can get Hannah, who's the number one heart maker, to do this for me, I must be doing something right as a brand. Hopefully then, after you publish that content, your influencer is sharing that content, then they're able to leverage them. So if you are doing something with events, let's say you have someone speaking, make sure you're leveraging that person. They're promoting it, they're posting about it, they're sharing it. I already have written an article that I'm going to share next week on my LinkedIn and my website about influencer marketing from today. As someone that's speaking, I'm going to tag the brand. I'm going to talk about this session, link to it, and it helps the brand and it also helps you. It's a chance to reach a whole new audience by doing very little. So it's a win for all of us. And it's free, which we love. So then going one step further, okay, so they blogged. How about we do an interview? Let's ask the expert, quote unquote. It's a really nice way of getting content without actually asking them to write it again. So a lot of times I'll get these and it'll be 5 to 7 questions. And then, the brand itself just writes an introduction, a conclusion, and just makes it all finished and pretty. But it's content that you can create, you can stack. I just did this for a client where I wrote an article about personal branding, and we're going to take all these really great stats and make this whole visual component. And we did very little. We just asked a bunch of experts to give us opinions on a topic. And then we just put it all into a Google spreadsheet and poof, I now have content for 3 months based around one topic. So again, a nice way of getting a lot done with doing very little. So most importantly, influencers, we've talked a lot about all these social networks, all these videos, but images really do work. Your brain processes images 60,000 times quicker than text. We are visual learners. We are busy people. We are not listening to things that are more than 30 to 60 seconds. I listen on a train in New York City half the time. I have no sound on and I look at closed captioning. Within 6 to 7 seconds, I know if I'm interested or not. And it's like a stat that our brains are actually, a goldfish has a longer attention span than we do. I think a goldfish has a 7-second attention span. A human has a 6-second. So this is the world we live in. How are you capturing attention? A lot of times I love doing quotes. I love doing images overlaid on quotes. This is one from that same conference. Not the sexiest one, but this was happening in live time. Within 10 seconds of this coming out of his mouth, this quote, my photographer instantly dropped me the image. I uploaded a professional image, put a logo on, put the quote that he had said, posted it on our social network. So we'll do these and then we'll include these within a lot of the blogs and content that we do from speakers who I consider influencers, and leveraging them before, during, and after. So having them promoted again. collecting quotes, collecting articles, posting it on LinkedIn, and having that kind of in your back pocket for the future. Again, a lot of times I'll just put out an open-ended question on LinkedIn, like, what's the best business advice you've ever received? I'll stack it. I'll ask for permission, always ask for permission to repost it, tagging people, putting quotes. And the idea is that these people who I find relevant, I find to be influencers, will then reshare my content, helping me, helping a brand. It goes on and on. So again, that nano influencer is a really nice way to reach it. If you're looking for a great tool for free to create images, Pablo by Buffer is a really wonderful tool. You can go in, it's powered now by one of those images companies. I don't know which one, but you come in, you can type up here. I want financial images, fine. I come in here, you can actually size it by the social network on the top right. You can put in filters, you can add text, you can add quotes, like the actual quotes you can see, you can play around with the font. You can add your brand's logo, and you can actually upload a background picture and overlay images and export it out, and it's already sized perfectly. So within minutes, you can create beautiful social media posts, hopefully highlighting influencer content. So last couple slides here. So leveraging these influencers within live events is another great way. I showed you guys my case study, but this here was join us for a Twitter chat on the role of social media within financial services. And so a Twitter chat back in the day when Twitter was Twitter, you would post a question, what's your favorite social media channel and why? Using the brand hashtag. So you can see there. So then your influencer takes it, posts the question number, and curates the conversation. This is a great way, and still is a great way, and free of driving conversations around a hashtag. So, ask your speaker, your moderator, your press to leverage your hashtag and take advantage of people within a live event. Um, you know, there's so many opportunities to meet influencers and take advantage. But again, I think that's like low-hanging fruit, is just creating really great content and leveraging their voice. It can be as simple as that. And that authority is quite impactful. So in closing, I want to leave you with a couple of my social media rules. I love sharing these. So be interesting. It never works. Take chances, look around, see what people are doing within your industries. Everyone on this call is doing something a little bit different than the other. So I think I've given you guys a lot of ideas about how to really easily find influencers, but also how to ask them to collaborate with your brand or you, whether it's through a blog, whether it's through submitting a quote, whether it's tagging them and asking them to have a virtual coffee after a session. Have fun, be experimental, be smart about what you do. The internet is forever. Privacy is who knows with the internet. Um, have things, be mindful of rules, follow them. And again, the number one thing with social media and influencer marketing is that authority, that relevance, and that action. So the power of social media to me lies within engagement. That is key. If you have no engagement, it's not even worth doing. So make sure your content is great and reach out to people and have fun along the way. So if you guys have questions after, I think Hannah shared my social channels. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to email me if you'd like. And thank you guys. And I had a lot of fun speaking to you.
Oh, Marissa, thank you so much. That was a great session. Learned a lot and such useful tools you dropped as well. So I'll be sharing that with everyone after this call. We do have a few questions in the chat if you have time to answer.
I do.
Candace is wondering, for the numbers that you shared, do you consider them baseline? AKA, if someone has more than 4% engagement rate on a nano influencer, is that strong performance?
Those were the average rates from the influencer marketing survey that I'd pulled. I'd say mapping out your audience and having a sense of what their engagement rate looks like. Within every network, it's a little bit different. You can go ahead and Google. There's different baseline industries by social media channel that give you kind of like a baseline of what metrics should be. I know financial services off the top of my head. I don't know all the other various industries. For me, it was far lower with what I was trying to do. So take a look through, and then if it's not clear, just shoot me a note after and I can help you find those.
Thank you. And we have another question from Ada. She's wondering about the influencer platform.
Yep.
She's heard that people must report the gifts as payments in the US. She's wondering if it applies in Canada and maybe differences between influencer space in the US versus Canada.
So this is, the FTC really cracked down on the US on what is allowed. Every country has its own rules and regulations. I don't know the Canadian rules. I have not done much in Canada, and we have done work where we've paid influencers, but not outside of, I don't think we've ever had a Canadian influencer with any campaign I've done. I would say just check the guidelines and make sure. I know there has to be disclosure of ads because that's how it works, but I'm not quite sure. I don't know the rules, so I don't want to even say anything. I would say just check into it. I'm sorry, I don't know.
And I was reading some questions here. Can you speak to where you see influencer marketer trends heading in the years ahead? Will short video content continue to be king, thanks to IG Reels and TikTok, or do you see this burning out? This question from Sarah.
It's a big question. I have a lot of views on this. I think the big celebrity influencers are going to fizzle down. I think a lot of it's completely unauthentic, as I said earlier. I think when you see these big celebrities like Kim Kardashian posting something about, I don't know, like this candle, like a candle company, like that's completely irrelevant. You know, it's not authentic. I think the future of influencer marketing is relatability. I think it's going to continue to expand. I like more of the content-based influencer marketing more than the paid influencer marketing. I find that much more authentic and relatable. I think videos, 20, 30-second videos and reels are going to be the future. And I think, again, people trust peer recommendations and influencers more than they trust brands. So the brands that partner with these influencers and do it right and elevate their brand are the ones that are going to come out ahead. So I'd say the future in my mind is I think it's a bubble. I think the bubble is getting close to popping with the big paid influencers. And I think the nano influencers are absolutely where marketers and other people should be focusing on for the future with short, relatable content.
Okay. Candace, I see you have your hand up. Was it by accident? Or are you muted by accident? There you go. Okay.
Haven't used Zoom for 5 years or anything, right?
No worries.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. Probably easier to ask versus typing this out. Marissa, thank you. This has been so helpful, and so many great resources shared. So thank you for that. You touched on earlier how for B2B marketing, it is a little different from when you're working with brands and product, like the hot sauce or the steak sauce, right? With B2B marketing, how are you getting people to take actions around actually trying product or converting product? I feel like, for steak sauce, for example, maybe it's a little easier to get people to purchase earlier. With a lot of the stuff we're doing on influencer, it feels like a slower burn to build that trust before we try to get to an ask of try our software, try our product.
Yeah, and that's a great question. My entire background, I should have said this in actually, that's not true. Most of the influencer marketing I've done has all been B2B and all content based. So honestly, a lot of times if I don't know what your sector is that you're working within, but if there's an opportunity to bring these people in as events speakers, for example, and then you're leveraging them as a partnership with creating content and creating trust with brands and leveraging their audience. I find that within B2B, it definitely is a little bit slower, and you have to make sure they're hyper relevant to what you're trying to do. Especially, I come from financial services, so not nearly as sexy or exciting, but great content in my mind. I think it wins always, without a doubt. People are highly incentivized also. So if you legally can give an Amazon gift card, for example, or I used to do conferences where we would do like the Starbucks buy a coffee, where it's like a $5 gift card, which I don't even know if that buys a coffee anymore from Starbucks, but we used to send people these like virtual vouchers just for participating. And sometimes it takes a little bit to get to the threshold of where you're getting content and consistency, but then you'll see the action will quickly come once you have the great content, the support, the relevancy, and the authenticity as a brand. you'll see there's some kind of a threshold where you start seeing website traffic will go up. And then you can identify a couple different partners that you're, I think of it as partnerships, but it's influencer partnerships. And then you can take an action, whether it's, maybe it's driving a demo of your company and incentivizing them after, or simply just asking them why they're not doing it, which I wish more people would say. Like my favorite emails are like A, B, C, D. Why do you want to pursue? Are you not interested? Do you not have the budget? Do you just not like the product? Like it just explicitly ask and then just go from there. But I agree, it is a little bit slower in our sector.
Yeah, thank you. That's super helpful. I think that's a similar tack we're trying to take with the slower burn, add value first, then put the ask for product demo. Otherwise, people don't engage, it feels like.
Correct. And that's why I love like flipping upside down on LinkedIn with content. It's definitely the platform to play around with and have fun. Instead of posting an article for like a blog that you just put out, crowdsource what people want from a question. And then at the end, the next day, or at the bottom of many posts, hopefully, post a link to the content and then let them digest it. Get it excited, get people excited and bought in and reading and excited about things.
Love it. Thank you so much, Marissa. We're at the top of the hour. Appreciate everyone who came today, asking all your great questions. I got all of Marissa's links here. I dropped it in the chat again for everyone. So if you want to connect with her, her LinkedIn and her website are there. This is recorded, so I will be sending out a replay email for everyone with those links as well, and the tools that Marissa mentioned. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week, friends. Thank you all. Thank you, Marissa, again. This was so great.
Hi,
Take
guys.
it
Thank you
easy.
so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Bye, friends. Bye-bye.